What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and today I'm going to be talking about some Friday the 13th tips and tricks. Now, this video is going to kind of be split into two. In this video, we're going to talk a little bit about Jason's tips and tricks, and then we're going to talk about the counselor's tips and tricks. So again, if you've entered our giveaway for Friday the 13th, you have to leave a comment on this video or one of the other two videos. They're going to come out tomorrow and Wednesday. We're going to have a special video tomorrow and a review on Wednesday. Those could also possibly be flipped, but you got to comment on one of these three videos to win the game, and you have to comment on the giveaway video. So, let's do some tips and tricks for Friday the 13th. Let's talk about Jason. Now this game, and the developers have admitted it, and it's true and it's a good thing in my opinion, that this game is meant for Jason to win it. It's going to be very difficult, honestly, to be bad at Jason, just in general. In my first game as Jason, without really watching too many videos, without knowing how to play him at all, I killed two of the counselors. So that's pretty actually bad. That's not the greatest. Second one, I killed all but one counselor. So within one match, I got really good. So here's the tips and tricks for Jason. He's very powerful. Obviously, you know that. He's basically unkillable. As Jason, you're not going to get killed. You can get stunned, which is annoying. For that, I would just recommend being aware. You got to be aware of everything going on in this game. And as Jason, being aware is very easy to do because of all the perks he has. One of the things I would recommend is, and this is, again, these tips and tricks aren't always things that you may not know. You may already do this. These are just general tips and tricks. Use what you have available to you. And I mean everything. So your powers, the base level powers, the being able to morph anywhere in the map, being able to sense them, being able to stalk them, and being able to kind of really, really quickly close a gap. All of those are super, super important for really reasons I just said. You're going to want to get from location A to B very quickly in this game, especially early, because early on is probably the counselor's best chances to get things done. Because, and I'll go into it with counselors, but obviously their objective is to hide or escape from you, and if they're going to escape, they're going to try and do it as early as they can. So, it's important for Jason, as playing Jason, to immediately get out into the world and start hunting these people down. So you're going to want to morph. You're going to want to morph to important areas, and we're going to talk about that. You're going to want to use the sense to see and kind of like literally see where they are, or where it lights up a house red, or where you can see you can automatically see the echoes of their sound. But you're going to want to use sense to, if they're close by, you're going to want to use that immediately. And you're going to want to use it as often as you can. It takes a while to recharge. The morphing on the map takes almost zero time whatsoever. With the sensing, don't use it up all the way. That would be kind of a cheat there, is use it just until you know where they are, and then turn it off, because then you can use it if you need to really quickly. You can use it again in very little time. If you use it all the way, you're not going to be able to use it again I mean, that one kind of recharges quickly too, but it's not insanely fast. So I would just recommend to not use it all the way up. In terms of the third one, the being able to kind of close the gap, being able to literally teleport and glide along the world, the map, in a very quick way. That's obviously very, very useful if you see somebody and you want to get there extremely quickly. Maybe you know that they have a window to escape. You use that. Jason is fast, but it's very effective to close a gap as well. And then stalking obviously turns off the music so they don't know that you're coming. It's a way for Jason to kind of be invisible. That's very useful if you're playing with like smart counselors. Now with morphing, I said that there's more to that. Here's what I would recommend. Morphing is very, very cool, being able to go anywhere in the map. What I'd recommend is go to key areas. Now, if you actually look up tips and tricks for counselors, it'll tell you to not go in the forest. And that's a really smart idea for counselors. Because if you're in the forest, they're going to get scared, you're going to make noise, and Jason will find you. For Jason, this is extremely good because in that case, you can hear them already. There'll be like the white echo that pops up over them. So you don't really need to do anything to find them if they're out and about in the woods. So what your primary objective is to obviously kill them, but you don't want them to escape, right? You want to kill them. You don't want them to leave. What I'd recommend is morph back and forth to the two cars. Now this worked with me many times. You morph back and forth to the cars, leave traps around the cars because you can leave traps. The knives, those are okay. I don't really use the knives that much, but I do lay the traps. The traps are incredibly useful. I'll sometimes put it in a road in the middle of the forest where I think that they could be running. You just have to strategize for that. That's up to you where you really want to put it. But I would recommend putting the trap near the cars because you know the counselors are going to go to the cars. I'd also start recommending to take out every box that powers a house, how you can basically knock the lights out of houses. Now, obviously, the counselors need the lights on to keep composure so that they're not afraid. So if they're in the house and you knock the lights out, that's going to scare them. You're going to have a better sense of where they are. So doing that's very important. But basically, as Jason, you want to be, like I said, the only thing you need to know as Jason is you need to be aware. You need to know that the counselors are obviously going to try, not all of them, but some will try to go to the cars, some will try to go to the boat, some will try and call the police. So you're going to want to keep an eye out on those locations. In addition, like I said, with the don't worry about the counselors in the forest part because you can hear them, what's good about that is there's only one other place they can be, and that is in the building populated areas. There's only like 3, 4, 5 areas that they could be in the entire map. So you're going to want to stalk that. You're really going to want to hang out there because that's going to be where they are. You know, you can't see them when they're like in beds and stuff, but you can hear them and you can take logical guesses. Obviously, the door things are problems. I know counselors will talk in a way to confuse Jason with that in a second. But with Jason, I would recommend breaking every window. If you see a counselor that's inside the house, you break the windows because the windows can injure the person as they're walking across or if they jump through. So break every window that you possibly can and really just hang out where you think the counselors are going to be. Monitor the important areas. Make sure they don't get to that car. And like I said, if you lay a trap at that car, they're pretty much screwed, if they don't see it at least. But if you're watching the cars and you're going back and forth, I caught around 3 counselors in one game, just one game. I caught around 3 counselors trying to go for that car. And they did it at different times of the match. But I kept checking on them because I knew they couldn't go anywhere and they weren't going to go in the forest. So that's how I got them. So really, Jason, very powerful character. I love him. He's great to play as. You don't have to worry. Just have fun with him. He's a very fun character, but there is ways for the counselors to beat you by escaping, calling the police and stuff. So it's important to be aware and do that. As for the counselors, so the counselors are obviously on the disadvantage in this game. You're not supposed to win. Things are basically packed up against you. Your back's to the wall in this game a lot, and it's terrifying being as a counselor, and I really like that feeling. I think the game nails it. So what do you have to do as a counselor? Well, you have to hide or you have to escape for 20 minutes. I'm going to go and talk about basically each aspect of how you could do this in a tips and tricks kind of fashion. First tip and trick is do not ever try to attack Jason. Don't go on the offense against him. It's almost near impossible to kill him. You're not going to do it. Now, that doesn't include stunning him. Stunning him is good. You know, if you have a flare gun, if you have a trap you could use on him, if you have a shotgun, if you have a machete, there are things you can use on him to stun him and get away if necessary. But honestly, you are never going to want to confront Jason unless he literally walks up to you and then you have a serious problem. You never want to attack him. Ever. That's the first tip and trick. Don't try it unless you're doing it for fun and you know you're going to die. Never try and fight him one-on-one. Or even as a group. A thing you may think, and I have seen this around in tips and tricks like guides on the internet, is stay in big groups. And actually, I think even the game, one of the game's tricks at the bottom left-hand corner says that, or something along those lines. Don't do that. At most, groups of 3. But even that, I think, is way too many. Groups of 2. If you want to stay alive in this game, I think the best way to do it is stay in groups of 2 as a counselor. If you stay in one big group, you're basically asking for Jason to kill each and every one of you. It's never going to work. because you're all in one spot. You're all making an insane amount of noise because you're all in one area. You do not want to do that. Even 3 people can become pretty noisy, and that's just too many bodies, honestly. 2 people is where it's at. 2 people you can kind of talk to. You can stun Jason and escape if necessary. You can hide with this person. You don't have to make a lot of noise. So 2 people, at most 3. At most. But do not get 6 people together. That will never work. Even though I've seen that, people saying that, I definitely don't agree. I think that's just a bigger... Obviously, not everybody's going to die in that situation. So, I mean, I guess if you're just thinking about it from a numbers perspective, yeah, he's not going to be able to kill all 6 of you at once, but you're easily going to get found within about 5 seconds, and he'll knock out a couple of you, and then basically you're in a group of 2 or 3 anyway. So why do it in the first place? Why risk lives? Repairing cars, repairing boats, repairing the phone to call the police. Which is the best? Calling the police. That's easily the best. It takes the least amount of work. In my opinion, Jason, from where I've played against him, he's more worried about the cars than the phone. Now, obviously, if you have a smart Jason player, like I said, you have to be aware of all of the options of escape. So if you're playing somebody who knows how to play Jason, it's going to be tough for sure. And there's no guarantee any of this stuff works because you're supposed to lose. But repairing cars is a lot of work. And even with that, Jason can stop you in the car if he gets in front of you on the road, which, as I said, is Jason. You're going to want to monitor those main roads, which I said before. So cars are risky, and cars take a lot of time, and there are no guarantees there. Boats are better. Boat is definitely better. It takes slightly less work, and it's harder for Jason to stop you. He can stop you by flipping the boat, like going underwater, but I'll tell you, it's hard to control this game. Like the controls, this game is not a perfect game by looks or by feel, like how it plays. So when you do the quick teleporting to close the gap and you go under the water, it's not a guarantee you're going to hit that boat. So the boat is indeed a better option than cars. But the easiest option and the best option is the cop. You get there quickly, you repair that phone line, you call the cop, you got 5 minutes, all you got to do is hide out. Do not run to that exit until you see the cop there, because if you're running out there waiting for the cop to be there, like say you call and then you go out there immediately, Jason will kill you. Because now as Jason, you know the cops are coming, so you have a big problem. So call the cops and then just hide. And then obviously another option is wait him out. Like I said, going in the forest isn't a good idea because Jason will hear you easily. No, Jason will hear you easier if you're in the forest. It's no guarantee that you're going to get caught, for sure. Like, I'm sure there's ways of hiding. But hiding in those building areas is the best way. Now, obviously, that's where Jason probably is going to be hanging out the most. This is where picking your character is going to come most in handy. And I'm going to talk about this more in the next one of the next videos that I do in this game. But picking your character for how you want to play it, but more importantly, what you think is most important to this game is important. There's counselors that can run faster. There's counselors that have higher stamina. There's counselors that have better composure, where they don't let off like this fear, where they don't alert Jason as easily. Basically at all, even if it's 10 out of 10. Only if he's literally chasing you will he know that you're there. Those are the people that you probably want to go as the counselors. But hiding is not a bad option. I hid in a cabinet for 6 minutes, and I just hid there. And Jason kind of tricked me into getting me out of it by breaking a door, and I jumped out a window and I injured myself. But I hid in that cabinet for 6 minutes, and I didn't have to come out. I did that on my own. So you can hide for quite a while and be okay. You're going to want to obviously move around because the game will kick you if you're inactive. So you cannot hide in one area. You can't literally go underneath a bed and hide under that bed for 20 minutes. The game will kick you out. So you do want to move around a little. But for the most part, hiding is a really good idea. And finally, knowing what you have disposable to you. Knowing what's around in this world. Like I said, if you have to repair something, if that's what you want to do, if you want to try and repair the car, you got to know where it is. And you're not going to appear on the same part of the map each time. So maybe one time you're in the area where you can repair the car. Other times the car could be on the other side of the map and you're not going to be able to go there. You're going to have to work with where the game puts you, and you're going to have to work with your environment. You're going to want to find whatever weapon you got, You're going to want to have a plan if you get caught by Jason. You're going to want to stun him. Obviously, if he grabs you, there is a way to get out of that where you hit him and you kind of escape. That's not a guarantee at all, so that's not the best way to do it. But having a plan to stun Jason and leave is a good idea. But just knowing where you are in the map is insanely important. Also, like I said, last thing, what I was talking about with Jason with the buildings. Jason is not the most agile player in this game. When he does the move to kind of close the gap where he can teleport very, very quickly, that's very clunky and you can't turn around very easily. You have to go in a straight line, so you'd have to make a circle to come back around. And when he's walking or running, he isn't the most, like I said, agile person. He takes a while to break down doors, so locking every door is very important. Keeping the lights on, like I said, is very important. Maybe even tricking Jason into thinking you're in a house that has lights on and go into another house. That's a good idea as well. But when Jason's walking around, he's not very agile, and he takes a long time. He takes like 4 or 5 hits to break down a door, unless he's in rage mode, which then he can just walk right through it. So windows are your best friends. And like I said, Jason, if he's smart, will break these windows, but a good way to literally just buy time, if you called the police, if the time is running out and you got like 20 seconds left in the game, go in and out of every window. And Jason has to follow. Jason can't go inside windows, so he has to go through the doors. So if you keep jumping inside and outside of the window, he's not going to be able to get you unless he goes all the way around to the whatever other side of whatever building it is. So in a way, it's kind of annoying, and it's not the best. I don't really like it playing as Jason. But obviously there's a reason to it. You know, they have to make it somewhat fair for these counselors. But that is an extremely effective way of doing it. I got caught chasing a guy for probably 2 minutes when it should have taken me 30 seconds to murder this man. He kept going inside and outside of windows, and it's to the point where it's like, dang it, like, just stop moving, let me strangle you, you know? But now as Jason, maybe you lay a trap right outside the window. So there's ways Jason can counter this. But in the heat of things, when he's chasing you, he's probably not going to think to lay a trap down unless you watch this video. He's not going to think to lay a trap down outside the window. So you can play that game for quite some time and buy time. Maybe you're buying time for somebody else to repair a car. Maybe you're waiting for the police. Maybe the game is almost over and all you have to do is survive for half a minute. These are ways you can do it. So I hope this was helpful for you. These are general tips and tricks to survive as counselors and tips and tricks to murder these people as Jason. Let me know in the comments below if you have any tips and tricks from playing this game. It's been a rough couple days with this game. The servers have been all over the place. I understand it. I'm not mad at them. It's a tough situation, I'm sure. Lots more people than they thought prior to playing this game. It's a small team. You know, it's crowdfunded. People paid to make this game, basically. Like, we gave them money. Not I, but people did. So let me know if you even got in a game and what you think of it, and if there's any tips and tricks I missed. Again, this is a giveaway video. Comment on this and the giveaway, and you will be entered to win Friday the 13th for whatever system you want. Make sure you subscribe to Podcast Now, our YouTube channel. Make sure you like and share this video, and I will see you for tomorrow's video.